My friends, in about a couple of hours, I'm going to travel to Las Vegas and see in person President Trump. I will send him your regards. In the meantime, let's take care of some business. Item from the New York Post. If Franz Kafka had written about confirmation hearings, he couldn't have come up with a better scenario than the one now unfolding in the U.S. Senate. Brett Kavanaugh, who the day before yesterday was an unimpeachable pillar of the legal establishment, stands accused of a heinous offense that's almost impossible to definitively rebut. Even if he's completely innocent of the charge that he sexually assaulted a teenage girl at a high school party 35 years ago, he will be forever considered guilty of it by some portion of the public. This is not due process or any kind of decent process at all, but how the Senate conducts its business, especially if you are a conservative jurist on the cusp of confirmation to the Supreme Court. My friends, when Clarence Thomas was going through confirmation hearings, he was the victim of and complained of being the victim of a high-tech lynching. And that is exactly what Brett Kavanaugh is now being victimized by. Ridiculous charge brought up just in time for his confirmation from 35 years ago with no proof whatsoever, and the entire machinery of Washington, D.C. has slammed to a halt. What the hell is this? It's cheap theatrics and it's dirty politics at the absolute worst. And Congress is investigating this? Congress is delaying the confirmation vote for this? If this woman felt that she had been the victim of a crime, she should have gone to law enforcement. If someone dings the fender of my car, do I go to Congress for redress? Of course not. It's absolute garbage. There was one victim, one witness, I should say, in the room when this alleged incident happened, and he says nothing happened. Kavanaugh says nothing happened. Only this woman, who is a Democrat partisan, is making the allegation. And why is she being taken seriously? Why is this being treated as anything other than filthy, dirty politics by the Democrats? It's everything America voted against in 2016. Kind of hack, sleazy politicians, and they have raised it to an art form on the left. It's an utter disgrace. Swear the woman in, have her testify, and if it turns out what she's saying is untrue, jail her. And jail the idiots in the Congress who are allowing this fiasco to take place. Thursday, Real Truth. Be right back.
Okay.
Are you driving a vehicle with a thunderstorm, tired of waiting months to get your vehicle repaired? With a paintless dent and nail repair. And unlike traditional body shop, this vision gets your vehicle back to you in days, not weeks. Insurance and top quality repairs with lifetime warranty. Call today for your immediate call. 970-541-0679, 970-541-0679, or look us up at VisionCM.com.
Grandpa's Pawn and Gun, serving Longmont and the Front Range of Colorado since 1994. We specialize in guns and currently have over 400 guns for sale. We also buy, sell, pawn, and trade for gold, silver, musical instruments, knives, archery equipment, quads, side-by-side, coins, and a lot more. We buy gun collections and do appraisals, which is smart for insurance purposes should a claim arise. We are, according to ATF, Colorado's second highest volume gun dealer, and because we have a lot lower overheads than the big box stores, we can beat the big box stores by as much as $100 per gun. And we have the lowest interest rates in northern Colorado, half of what the corporate stores charge when you're doing a loan. Come and see us at Grandpa's Pawn and Gun. If you love guns, if you love gold, come and see us. Check us out on the web, www.grandpaspawn.com.
All right, guys, let's start with filth. I'm talking about the filth that the Democrats are trying to perpetrate against the American people by doing everything they can think of to block the Kavanaugh confirmation. They're working directly against the interests of the United States of America. Here is Tucker Carlson and Coulter talking about just that.
We're in Washington right now. I've been here all my life, and I can say once there's next Supreme Court justice. She joins us tonight. So, that's what I even think about. What do you think for now? I think the big issue is last week. Every benefit of every doubt. I'm not attacking. Again, as I said last time.
Stop. Nice person. A nice person doesn't go public 35 years later and destroy another person's career. A nice person doesn't play nicey-nicey with the Democrats, who are the filthiest players in town trying to destroy this nomination. That is not a nice person. That's a political opportunist.
Tactic designed to prevent.
I think some of them, and this is
Tucker, you do know why. You do know why, and Ann Coulter is making exactly the same point that I made yesterday. If this is allowed to happen, if they're allowed to scuttle Kavanaugh's nomination because of this garbage, you will never, ever be able to get any Supreme Court nominee on the right confirmed. Because there will always be some bimbo who will step up at the last minute and say, he touched me. 80 years ago, he leered at me. I mean, what's to prevent it? And even though it would have absolutely no substance to it, it would have the same amount of substance as this accusation. There's nothing to it. It's just filthy politics. My hope is that enough Americans realize by now what the Democrats do, that there's a backlash and we vote all the Democrats out. Item from the Hill, President Trump lashed out at Congress on Thursday, that's today, over the lack of funding for his border wall in a recently passed spending bill, stoking a fight GOP lawmakers had hoped to avoid until later this year. I want to know where's the money for border security and the wall in this ridiculous spending bill, Trump asked in a tweet, and where will it come from after the midterms? Good point. So, the Democrats, unfortunately, are not the only creeps in Congress. The Republicans have their tails between their legs, and believe me, that's all they have between their legs. They don't want a border wall because it's good for America and they don't care about America. It's good for Americans and they don't care about Americans. Do you begin to see what politicians on both sides of the aisle are like and why we so desperately, desperately need a Donald Trump? We'll be back.
And of his fullness we have all received, and grace for grace. For the law was given through Moses, but grace and truth came through Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ. No one has seen God at any time. The only begotten Son who is in the bosom of the Father, he is the him. John chapter 1, verse 16.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessing of liberty for ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution in the motherland. That's problem with that. We know our kids will be affected. We want you to applaud the immigrant country to use that. They provide examples to the peers and to do that. That's what the water line located 366 feet in the wind, serving our area in 1943, which left me in naturalized DC and Florida, and completely cut the process. All 303, 688, 2040, 688, 2240. Total concrete services, all our clients. The men and women of our military dedicate themselves to serving our country. Their commitment encourages keep our country safe and strong. Let us honor those who have lost their lives in the line of duty. Salute those who serve today. This reminder from Total Concrete Services that 4462 Hippopotamus Road in Conway, to concentrate in the entire area and to work on behalf of our future. For more information, call 970-535-4780.
All right, guys, let's get further into this Democrat filth from the Daily Wire. A woman who claims to have been classmates in high school with Brett Kavanaugh's accuser wrote in a Facebook post on Tuesday that, quote, the incident did happen, and it was talked about at the school for several days after it allegedly happened. The story quickly went viral after NBC News published a report on the claim from Christina King Miranda, who lives in Mexico. In a now deleted Facebook post, King had originally claimed, quote, Christine Blasey Ford was a year or so behind me. I did not know her personally, but I remember her This incident did happen. Many of us heard a buzz about it indirectly with few specific details. However, hang on 1 second. Okay, I'm having my usual good luck with the internet. However, not to be deterred, here is Sean Hannity talking about this investigation.
Right, we are now on day 7 of the controversy that is swirling around the confirmation of Judge Brett Kavanaugh. A professor from Northern California named Professor Christine Ford is accusing Judge Kavanaugh of sexual misconduct from when they were both in high school, 1982. I have said many, many times on this program, these allegations must be taken seriously. Senate Republicans are doing just that tonight. They have delayed this week's confirmation vote. They have reopened the hearings. They have invited Professor Ford to tell her story before the committee, open or closed door session. They have reached out by phone, by email, and more for background. They are handling this with the utmost care and professionalism, as they should. And the Senate Judiciary Committee has even offered to fly their staff anywhere in the United States to meet with Professor Ford for a private interview. And on Monday, Professor Ford's attorney told Fake News CNN that her client would testify under oath, that she wanted to tell her story publicly. We have the videotape. Take a look.
Will your client, Christine Ford, be willing to testify in public to the Judiciary Committee? The answer is yes.
But here we are 2 days later. Professor Ford is refusing even an invitation to testify. She now is demanding through her lawyer, she wants a full FBI investigation into her claims first. And of course, the U.S. Senate, they don't control the FBI or what they choose to investigate. Advise and consent. It is the constitutional role of the United States Senate, not the FBI. Also, we know the FBI has stated publicly the allegation does not involve any federal crime. Now, the Senate can only perform their own probe. And unfortunately, they are now tonight being stonewalled. Politics is in play. And
All right, folks, let me interrupt because I got halfway through this chick who first said that she could confirm what the accuser said, what Professor Ford said. She had posted something on Facebook that was then deleted from Facebook. And here's what the now deleted Facebook post said, quote, "To all media, I will not be doing any more interviews, no more circus for me. To clarify my post, I do not have first-hand knowledge of the incident that Dr. Christine Blasey Ford mentions." So in other words, she doesn't know what she's talking about, but she's talking. Anyone want to take a guess on what party she votes for? Back to Hannity.
So tonight, Dianne Feinstein.
Is it possible, my friends, I'm just asking the question, is it possible when this Dr. Ford heard that people wanted to give her testimony under oath that she suddenly got cold feet? Because if you lie under oath, you go to jail. Is that possible? My friends, here's what's happening. I'll cut through it for you. The accusation is out there. It can't be proven. Can't be disproven. This woman, Ford, she's not going to testify. But now all those Democrats running for re-election in red states and states that Trump won handily, now they can say, look, I was going to vote for him, but with this cloud hanging over Kavanaugh's head and these accusations, I just can't, because I defend women. And they're betting that this will be enough of a fig leaf for voters to say, well, I don't blame them for not voting for Kavanaugh, because after all, you got to defend the rights of women. That's what they're going for. It's another swerve. Don't fall for it.
It's important that we hear from Professor Ford.
My friends, I hate lies. I mean, down to my DNA, I hate it, and I hate liars. Whatever your position on politics, tell the truth. And here's Democrat after Democrat after Democrat after Democrat playing sleazy politics and intentionally, knowingly lying, and it makes my blood boil.
Or a full FBI background check is
It makes me so warm inside when I hear Democrats saying women who make accusations of sexual harassment or rape need to be believed. Exactly like the women who accused Bill Clinton, who were attacked, slandered, physically threatened, and who was the person in charge of that terror campaign against those women? Hillary Clinton.
Is that a reason to believe her?
My friends, the very fact that he's a white male, you heard them say it. He's white, he's a man, and so he's guilty. That is Democrat intellectualism. We'll be back.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Thompson, founder of the Green Area.
How many times have you gone into a health food store and are confused as to the many different brands and prices of the same herbal supplements? You want to buy the cheapest, but you're afraid that quality is less. So you buy the most expensive. Truth is, the cheapest may be better. Green Herb herbal supplements are all manufactured in our Woody Ridge, Colorado plant at 4565 Tiffany Street, using the highest quality herbs that we source from all over the world. Our 150 different herbal supplements are the most potent and safest in America. Our guarantee is your money back, no time limit. Just return the bottle empty or full, no questions asked. So when you come to our new location, look for our new name and get this help. Or call us at 888-765-HERB. That's 888-765-4372.
You love it, you don't believe every spirit, but test the spirit. With the air God, because many false prophets have gone into the void. By this will know the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesses that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is of God, and every spirit that does not confess that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is not of God. And this is the spirit of the Antichrist, which you have already heard was coming, and is now already in the world. 1 John 4:1.
We hope these truths to be self-evident. That all men are created equal. That they are endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights. That among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just power from the consent of the governed. This is the American Network.
Chaplain Collins LLC includes our emergency first responders who are professional and free. They're willing to put their lives on the line for us as rulers of thanks. So let's all take the time to thank our first responders for all they do for us. Also thanking our veterans for the sacrifice they made for our freedom. This message is from Chaplain Collins LLC, the 2 locations in Denver and Fort Collins, serving the community for over 13 years. This is an online at chapelcollins.com.
If catastrophe struck with your family, be prepared. Are you confident 33 East and South Broadway is a professional, reputable, full-service business providing quality real estate repairs and supplies at an affordable price. Go online, stop by, or call Regis at 10343 5.
By the way, the suggestion that the accuser of Justice Kavanaugh, Judge Kavanaugh, testify under oath, yeah, that comes from law professor, Harvard law professor Alan Dershowitz. Here he is being interviewed on Fox News.
Alan Dershowitz.
Hang on, Professor. It has nothing to do with whom do you believe. Even Democrats realize that this is garbage, but it gives them an opportunity to help fight Kavanaugh, to save Roe versus Wade, which is what this is really about.
Decision that will have to be made is, do you disqualify an eminently qualified person whose political views I disagree with, but he's eminently qualified for something that allegedly happened 35 years ago? And then you combine the two. A, you'll never know for sure. B, it's 35 years ago. C, did Kavanaugh testify truthfully now? Those are the three elements, and in the end, you can't get to those elements without her testimony.
You mentioned the FBI. Guys, soundbite number 3, G. Secular with the jurisdiction. Apparently, the FBI, in his view, has no jurisdiction now, 36 years later.
The FBI has no jurisdiction over this kind of thing. Let's assume for the sake of this discussion, if there was illegality, and there's no evidence that Dr. Ford said there is, Brett Kavanaugh says there's not. That's not the FBI doesn't investigate that. What do? They do background checks. Now, this information is already public. So I think the appropriate thing to do here is to allow Dr. Ford to have the opportunity to address her allegations in a setting that she's comfortable with, whether it's publicly or privately, under oath.
Look, Jay is part of it, I agree with that. Do you think this happens on Monday? I think it happens. I think it has to happen on Monday. If it doesn't happen on Monday, the Republicans will be able to ram this through by saying that she didn't come forward. Look, Jay, who's a great lawyer, is partly right and partly wrong. They have no jurisdiction to investigate a crime, but they do have jurisdiction to do a background evaluation. A background evaluation, I know we've all been asked, people come to you and say, do you know him? What do you think of him? They can do a background evaluation, but they can do it after her testimony. It makes much more sense for her to testify. She's not going to learn anything new from the FBI investigation. Her testimony won't change based on the FBI investigation. She testifies. If she provides new information, the FBI can look into it then.
No, but you started out by saying very specifically how the Constitution works and how that is quite clearly being ignored here. Just to give you the extent of the rhetoric that is out there right now, here is a host on The View talking about this.
Men are supposed to protect you from these predatory males. And they're not doing that. Contrary, we have these people in Congress.
Folks, I just can't listen to Joy Behar anymore. She makes me sick to my stomach because she's an ignoramus and a liar.
But guilty isn't good enough under our system, and Sept has no indication other than
All right, we're not going to talk about the FISA documents right now. We're about to go to commercial break, and we're looking at a high-tech lynching. We're looking at Democrats doing what Democrats do, judging not based on facts, but on color of skin and gender. She's a woman, she's telling the truth. He's a man, he's a liar. He's white, he's even more of a liar. Meanwhile, Democrats are also, depending on the fact that their base, their voters, are stupid people who will act without thinking, who don't care about the Constitution, don't care about justice. They see a white guy, especially a well-to-do, intelligent, intellectual, educated white guy, and they hate him. That's what the Democrats are counting on. They smear. They don't think, they don't debate. They smear, they slander. And they are confident in the fact that their voters will simply react, like a dog reacting to a whistle. Well, that's a great way to ruin a country, and the Democrats have been doing it for years, and they continue to do it. Okay, let this woman Ford come. Let her speak under oath. And if she's found to be lying, fry her for being party to this lynch job here. It's absolutely disgusting. This is the new low of the Democrat Party. Trying to masquerade as champions of women. Democrats are anything but. We'll take a break and we'll be back with more Real Truth.
Today he gave the right to become children of God to those who believe in his name, who were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 10 through 13. The American Freedom Network is not funded or supported by special or government programs. The American Freedom Network is not sponsored by advertisers demanding content or programming control. The American Freedom Network is solely funded by you, the listeners. Please keep the American Freedom Network on the air by purchasing one of our sponsors' fine products or by calling 1-800-205-6245 to make a donation. The American Freedom Network needs your help. American Women's Community Corporation breaks down for mind parents. Keep an eye on your child while shopping chipper demonstrator become law. This poses an opportunity for it will be effective. Keep track of the at all times. If you have information regarding a lost child, call local authorities at once. American Women's Community Corporation breaks down. For residential or commercial weapons vending, call 303-263-4228.
All right, folks, let's get some more perspective on this Christine Ford nonsense. Here is Bill O'Reilly from BillO'Reilly.com.
What is a fair-minded American can't assault
By the way, let me jump in here. This happened when Kavanaugh was 17 and she was 15. It's amazing. Will we be held responsible halfway through our lives for what we did back when we were a teenager at a party? It's ludicrous.
Okay. After the party was over, Christine Ford, again 15 years old, says she locked herself in a room and then 10 minutes later left. Where did she go? Did she go home to tell her parents? She lived in the neighborhood. No record of her telling her parents anything. No record of the parents calling the school, calling Mr. Kavanaugh's parents, nothing like that. Now maybe it will surface, but surely if there were a record, it would be out by now. A record. So what did Christine Ford do? Say nothing. Nothing. Until 2006. Right? Then married, she goes to a therapist with her husband. She tells the therapist about the incident, alleged incident. Therapist writes down on notepaper, there were 4 boys in the room with Christine, not 2. Okay? The therapist gives the notes to Christine, who hands them over to the Washington Post. Remember, Christine got in touch with the Washington Post, all right, and her local congresswoman in California.
The Washington Post, by the way, which, as you know as well as I do, is rabidly anti-Trump, anti-Republican.
I guess early summer that happened. Okay. Now Christine Ford says, well, the therapist might have made a mistake by saying there were 4 boys in the room instead of 2. Therapists don't make those kinds of mistakes, especially with something that big. An attempted rape. You listen. If you're confused, if you're a therapist, you ask again. He writes 4, now it's 2. Another piece of evidence. Go along with no parent involvement. Okay. Then, when Kavanaugh gets famous for being considered for the Supreme Court, what does Christine Ford do? Hires a lawyer named Deborah Katz. Who is Deborah Katz? Far-left, Me Too lawyer. All right?
Just by coincidence. Not her neighborhood lawyer, not a lawyer she knew. She hires the one who has made a career on precisely this kind of garbage.
Katz is an extreme leftist who at one time on television told Paula Jones she had no case against Bill Clinton. Diminished Paula Jones's claims against the president, which were deemed credible and Paula Jones was paid $850,000. This lawyer, Deborah Katz, demeaned Paula Jones. She also supported Al Franken. That there was no harassment on the part of Senator Franken.
So in other words, this attorney is a scumbag who will say or do anything for money. The story changes all the time. When Bill Clinton is involved, the woman has no credibility. But when the woman is her client, she must be believed. This is the kind of filth bag that is ruining this country, my friends.
So, okay. Miss Hillary, now as a lawyer, will elect me to a rival company. Okay? Ms. Katz has done that. How is it done? Ready for the paper now? Ready for what was on for real. And for the rival company. And it was objective, and it's done praise with not an equal. Now, Ms. Katz is setting up her case. Meanwhile, Senator Franken is sitting on correct while Ms. Katz will come to think. Well, that is the line. She doesn't do that. She goes through the years. It's like Kavanaugh. Doesn't make it. Seems as if like Kavanaugh will be confirmed this week. Happens like that. With trying to do some short things, now, I'm not saying it's for publicity. I'm looking for the woman to work lines in it. For the phone, right?
Excuse me, hang on a second. This woman Ford is not alleging that she was raped. She didn't like the way she claims she didn't like the way Kavanaugh treated her at this party. Is that what the FBI is for, to investigate aggrieved teenagers at parties? You've got to be kidding me.
If you wanted to, Dianne Feinstein could have made it public in July. That would have given time for everybody to digest what happened or find out what happened, right? No, sits on it. Okay, so we are now days away from the committee voting on whether Judge Kavanaugh's nomination should reach the full Senate. It's chaos, just as Dianne Feinstein, Deborah Katz, and apparently Christine Ford won. Now, on Judge Kavanaugh's front, he's going to have to come back and testify under oath again. The friend who was in the room, Judge, he should testify as well. Okay? And I'm sure Christine Ford will testify. I'm sure.
I'm not sure, Bill. I don't think she will testify.
And you, as the jury, and the senators, going to have to listen and hear what they have to say.
Why would she testify when she's already accomplished her goal? She splattered mud on Kavanaugh, created doubt, created a specter of guilt. She's done. She doesn't need to do more than that. That's everything she set out to do. She will not testify, Bill. Mark my word. Okay. I predict she will not testify. Item from Market Watch. A number of Americans who applied for unemployment benefits in mid-September fell to a fresh 49-year low. More proof that a growing labor shortage and surging economy have given workers greater job security. Initial jobless claims, a rough proxy for layoffs, fell by 3,000 in the 7 days ended September 15th. So, economy booming. Thank you, President Trump.
Article 4. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall be issued without probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the places to be searched and the person or thing to be seized.
Coordinating the terms of the nation's economic, giving and to people of the nation. God is the people he has chosen has been known here. Psalm 33, verse 10.
Chaplain Collins LLC is our emergency first responders with a professional commitment free. They're willing to put their lives on the line for us with little or no thanks. So let's all take the time to thank our first responders for all they do for us. Also thanking our veterans for the sacrifice they made for our freedom. This message is from Chaplain Collins LLC, with 10 locations in Denver and Fort Collins, serving the community for over 13 years. Visit them online at chapelcollins.com. Total concrete service is long time. The men and women of our military dedicate themselves to serving our country. Their commitment and courage keep our country safe and strong. Let us honor those who have lost their lives in the line of duty. Salute those who serve today. This reminder from Total Concrete Services is 4462 Hilltop Road in Conway. Proud to serve in the center area and to work on behalf of our future. More information from 970-535-3780.
Item from the Washington Times, a 2017 medical document released Wednesday by Karen Monahan said she feared, quote, retribution if she revealed her allegations of abuse against her former boyfriend, Democrat-Republican Keith Ellison. Ms. Monahan posted the Minnesota Clinic's write-up from her visit to corroborate her accusations of physical and emotional abuse made public in August, which Mr. Ellison has denied. When I post this, it gets deleted every time, she tweeted. The document from the Park Nicollet Clinic, dated November 28, 2017, said she was being treated for anemia and that she attributed it to the stress from her relationship with Mr. Ellison, which she said ended in 2016. She states she was in a very stressful environment for years, emotional and physical abuse by a partner with whom she's now separated, said the clinic's progress notes, unquote. My friends, Mr. Ellison, very high-profile Muslim who is in Congress. He's co-head of the Democrat Party. He is a sleazebag from way back. You can tell when you see him on TV. He's angry. He's vicious. And by the way, mistreating women is absolutely nothing out of the ordinary for a Muslim. Item from Fox News, President Trump blasted Republicans on Thursday for not including funding for the southern border wall in what he described as a, quote, ridiculous spending bill passed by the Senate this week, unquote. My friends, every senator who voted for the spending bill knowing that there was no funding in it for the wall should be voted the hell out of office. They are guilty of treason against the American people. Item from Fox News, one of Minnesota's most violent and infamous sex offenders, who has admitted to raping more than 60 women and who has quickly re-offended every time he's been previously released from prison, is set to go free again after more than 30 years behind bars. The Minnesota Supreme Court on Tuesday rejected a request by the state's Department of Human Services to review the case of Thomas Ray Duvall, a serial rapist who admitted to brutally raping dozens of teenage girls in the 70s and 80s, unquote. My friends, the fault is with the system. When someone is found guilty of violently raping someone, he should be shot in the head and done. Item from the Wall Street Journal. The total net worth of U.S. households rose to nearly $107 trillion during the second quarter of 2018 as higher property and stock prices boosted Americans' wealth, unquote. Thank you, President Trump. Item from Breitbart. President Trump celebrated stocks hitting their highest level ever by congratulating the United States on the accomplishment, unquote. My friends, let that roll around your tongue a little bit. Stocks hitting the highest levels ever, thanks to Donald Trump and his policies. And so, of course, voters across Colorado want to vote to put an end to those policies, right? So much for those voters in Colorado. Democrat voters in Colorado are among the stupidest people in the country. And don't forget, Colorado went for Hillary in 2016, which tells you how much respect I have for most Colorado voters. Now, I know it doesn't apply to my listeners, but my God, you got some awfully stupid people in Colorado, which means it's more important for Real Truth listeners than ever to get out the vote, take other people to go out and vote in November for Republicans. It's absolutely essential that Colorado become a red state. All right, we're done. I'll be back on Monday, my friends. Stay safe, stay healthy. Read the headlines. You'll have no trouble staying angry. Hasta luego.